All right, peace and blessings, and welcome to another episode of YB's Collaboration Corner in conjunction with Self Publishing 30 Days. I'm your host, Rob YB Youngblood, President of Sales for Self Publishing 30 Days, and your LinkedIn locksmith. I have the esteemed pleasure of sitting with my guy, Rushion McDonald. We were laughing a little bit before we came on, and I said, wow, how the tables have turned. You may know Rushion McDonald because he is the host and executive producer of Money Making Conversations. He's the mastermind behind tremendous brands. I'm gonna have him tell you who he has supported. But Rushion, welcome to YB's Collaboration Corner. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you. It's always been a journey. It's been a journey since I was 18. I started making decisions on my own because in high school, they tell you what class to go to. When you graduate from high school, you have to make a decision on what you want to do with your life, and that's what I've been doing all my life.
Well, listen, you hit the nail on the head with that one. Tell us a little bit about where you from originally. Where's your hometown, Rushion?
Houston, Texas. Born down in Houston, Texas, inner city kid. I'm a stat. And a stat is usually means that I'm not gonna make it. I'm dealing in drugs. I'm a situation where I'm not supposed to be a taxpayer. I'm not supposed to be a successful citizen, and that's the stereotype that all minorities have to deal with when they come from the inner city, especially because they won't invest in those communities to give us an equal opportunity to achieve in a in a community that is non-black. And so I am what they would call an overachiever. I'm a guy who has been blessed to be able to achieve levels of success that people only dream about. I don't. I dream about it, but I set goals to those dreams. That's all, young blood. I tell everybody that you can achieve success if you're goal oriented. And my dreams are the same dreams that everybody else has. I just knew that early on. I knew I wasn't athletic enough to be a NBA player. I knew I couldn't rap. I knew I couldn't sing. So I focused on what I could do. And I think a lot of people walk around with false dreams. And if you want to be a model, okay, make sure that's what you can do and position yourself to do that just because you're pretty. If you can sing, make sure you position yourself to sing or become a personality. I don't think Carly B is a great singer, but her personality makes her brilliant.
No
And
doubt.
so a rapper, it makes her brilliant. It's because she realizes that's her persona. But the brilliance of this industry are the writers, are the producers. I remember when I met long time relationship with Beyonce and when I was with Steve Harvey and she came in on the morning show along with the rest of Destiny's Child,
Hmm.
and I noticed on that CD they had the one that where it was all dressed in fatigue.
Yeah.
She'd written like 11 of those songs, and I looked at Steve. I go, that was the first time I realized she was more than just a singer.
Right.
So that's when you realize you're dealing with unique people because they're
Mhm.
controlling their destiny. And what I've done all my life, I like to believe is I've controlled my destiny. I've controlled my journey, whether I want to admit it or not, because a lot of people don't admit the success that they achieve. And so that's the first point of the conversation. If you're achieving success, please tell people about it.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, yeah, no, that is tremendous, and that's the main reason why we're here. Because what most people don't realize is that there's some secrets to success that aren't really secrets.
They're not.
Because a lot of folks have achieved success. Rashawn, tell us about your background. Obviously, you came from Houston, Texas. You've
Right.
done some great things with some great people. Talk a little bit about your background in terms of the work that you've done. You mentioned Steve Harvey. Tell us about your background.
Well, math degree. My degree is in mathematics. My minor is in sociology. Left IBM to pursue a career in stand-up comedian as a stand-up comedy. As a stand-up comedy comedian, that's where I met Steve Harvey. He was my
Mm,
opening act. And Steve opened up a very successful comedy club, and at that comedy club, Steve and I reconnected, and he offered me an opportunity to come to Los Angeles to write on his first sitcom, Me and the Boys.
mm,
Very successful experience. I'd never written on a sitcom in my life. It was ranked number 19 in the country,
mm.
and it got canceled. And I had no agent, no manager, and Robert Townsend, who was launching the WB series Parenthood, saw my talent and picked me up. And I always tell Robert Townsend to this day when I see him, he always says, "Stop, Rashawn, stop." I said, "Brother, if you didn't pick me up, man,
Yeah,
these conversations I'm having today wouldn't exist because
yeah.
he allowed me to connect." And one of those things when you start talking about collaborations, on Steve Harvey's TV show, Me and the Boys, I was an executive story editor, which means I jumped a level. When they bring you in, they bring you as a staff writer, and then you become a story editor. Okay, and so when I went to WB to work with Robert Townsend, it was a pay cut. He took a pay cut now, but then again, people don't know what you're getting paid, so you don't. Why worry about that? See, a lot of people get caught up in I don't know what the president of the United States gets paid, but guess what? He's the most powerful man in the world.
Amen.
Okay?
Come on.
I know that Steph Curry gets $40 million a year, but he's not the most powerful person in the world.
Come on, that's right.
I know Jeff Bezos owns, Amazon, but he's not the most powerful man in the world.
That's
But
right.
I know the salary that President Biden gets is not even in comparison. So people should understand titles mean something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I knew that I had to get that title back. And so I went to Warner Brothers. I said, look, y'all don't have to pay me no money. Okay. Just give me my title back. They said, huh? I said, look, you put this in the contract. No money is associated with this title. And so by doing that, it allowed me, my next job allowed me to be a producer. So if I wouldn't have got that title back, I wouldn't have been a producer.
Right.
Then I became a supervising producer. Then I became on Sister, and then I became a co-executive producer on Jamie Foxx and a consultant producer on Monique. And so I say that story to tell people that we get so caught up in the dollar, but not the opportunity. The opportunity presents the dollar opportunity for you. And so it's the relationship and the collaboration that allows you to be able to have a career, and that success, you create value by need. If somebody needs you, they're going to pay you. That's right. So all I needed was somebody to need me. But if they needed me in a title that I knew if I got back, I could skip and get more money, and eventually worked out that way.
Oh, that's true wisdom right there, Rushion. And so when we talk about collaboration, what is your definition of collaboration?
Working with people who have the same dream. I'm gonna tell you something. You cannot collaborate with somebody who doesn't think like you. You cannot. If otherwise, that's what team ball is about. Successful teams make a big deal about it. I always go back to sports because sometimes you can get offered a big check, and I know let's go for a cornerback position. A cornerback who's a press corner, and he gets a big contract and goes to a team that plays zone. That's a mistake. Okay, so you wonder what happens to that. It happens all the time in baseball, football, basketball, and they go, wow, what happened to him? Because he was in a bad collaboration.
Right.
We see singers, they do collaborations, but what we don't see and understand that collaborations can happen in the business world. Collaborations happen all the time in entertainment. Yeah. Collaborations happen all the time in the sports world, but we never see it happen in the business world, but it happens all the time.
All the time.
It happens in the big scheme of things. You'll see where networks collaborate. You'll see where they'll share talent. Where networks will Google will collaborate with another brand, and so that's what I am associated my talents with, is that I understand that because I worked at IBM. So I came from the corporate space, but what people don't understand is that egos can halt great collaborations. That means that you cannot position yourself to have an ego in a collaboration, which means that, I'm going to just tell you an example. Steve Harvey and myself had a great collaboration. Why? Because I decided to stop doing stand-up comedy. I decided to say, you know something? In this relationship, you are the star. A bad collaboration would have been, no, dog, I want to get mine too. That was not a good collaboration.
Right.
And so you can see it, Steve. There's videos out there where Steve says that, where I set back my career back, but I didn't really technically set my career back. I made a career decision.
Right.
That based on where we're trying to go together in this collaboration, let me focus on your visions, which I will still enjoy. I love producing. I love productions. I love creating. So it wasn't a step back for me. but it was the collaboration that worked for us and enabled us to do all the great things. Sell a book for 3 million copies and get translated into 30 languages. Act like a lady, think like a man. To do 2 box office hits, Think Like a Man, Think Like a Man 2. To resurrect Family Feud into the #1 series on television. That's what we did, to take a syndicated morning show from 4 stations to 84 and be the #1 syndicated morning show in the country.
Mhm.
Those are things you do when you collaborate
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah, yeah. That's good. That's good. And so as you move on, man, I mean, you've worked with Stephen A. Smith. You work with a whole lot of folks. We see you see their pictures right behind you. Who do you want to collaborate with? When you think about the people you've already connected with, like who is left? Who is left for you to collaborate with? Like if you had an opportunity to collaborate with someone or some people or types of people right now, who would those people be?
HBCU. That's what I'm collaborating with. I'm
Hmm.
collaborating with Black Excellence.
Hmm.
And I was on the phone with Texas Southern today, talking about collaborating with them about bringing my HBCU College Day event to the campus of Texas Southern in Houston, Texas. And I did it in September. Alabama State University, Winston-Salem State University, and Clark Atlanta University. My number one collaboration right now is to let people understand that, that 80% of the Black doctors and dentists come from HBCUs.
That's right.
50% of the lawyers come from HBCUs. 24% of the STEM graduates come from HBCUs. 50% of the Black teachers come from HBCUs. That's a collaboration that needs to be shouted out.
Yeah.
And who does it better than me? Because I've been doing it for corporations.
Hmm.
I've been doing it for talent that was not superstar talent, but are superstar talent now. And I'm in a position to collaborate with a brand that's been around since 1865.
That's right. That's right.
So, if I'm blessed to be able to sit in this interview and tell me who you collaborating with, I'm collaborating with 4 letters, HBCU,
I
and
love
that
it.
means Black Excellence, and that's what I'm doing now, and that's my dream. That's a mandate within my company. Every time we get on a call with any corporate sponsor,
Hmm.
HBCU is our leading, and they say, Rushion, did you graduate from HBCU? No, but that's part of the collaboration. Is that I have something, a talent that I'm sharing with a brand that I can enrich, and that enrichment also makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And in the process of doing that, if the bonus is making money, we all win. And so
Yeah.
that's my #1 collaboration is HBCUs.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so proud to hear you say that. I remember when we would have our conversations, you always talk about that. I'm a byproduct of an HBCU, so we definitely have to talk about bringing you up to Virginia Union University. Virginia State's right down the street. So definitely
And we're
look
about to
forward
do
to
another
us.
collaboration on Clark Atlanta University,
Yeah.
Money Making Conversation Financial Summit. That'll be March
Mm.
25th and 26th. I did another collaboration on the campus of Clark Atlanta University every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m. Money Making Conversation Live. So I understand collaboration because I will not be on that station live if they didn't see the value and then I didn't play by the rules of
Yeah.
NPR.
Yeah.
So there's a discipline, there's a mode of production, and there are rules that I have to abide by. That's what the collaboration is all about. Like I always said, you have to give up something to be a part of the bigger picture.
Yes, sir. I love it. I love it. So as we land the plane, Rushion, to share, I mean, you've been dropping nuggets, but what would you say to someone who is looking to get into a similar space as you, get into the industry that you've been in, maybe become a producer, go into making collaborations? Like, what would you share with someone that's up and coming that could benefit from your wisdom? What's one piece of nugget that you can share with them to get them rolling?
Well, first of all, you have to move. There's so many people who want to be safe. I'm originally from Houston, Texas. I've lived in New York. I've lived in Chicago. I lived in Los Angeles. I now live in Atlanta. I've traveled to Bermuda. I've traveled and performed all over this country. So, if you want to be successful, you have to become uncomfortable in life
Mm.
for an extended period of time. I kid you not. If you talk to anybody who's successful, what happens is they've done it so much that it's natural. Like I said, I would tell you this day, I'm uncomfortable getting on a plane, but that's part
Mm.
of my life. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
And but if you do, it becomes natural, and then you can't really articulate to people why that is the way it is. You have to realize that uncomfortable is all right. Two, being selfish is all right. And a lot of people use the word selfish in a negative manner. Especially people don't understand how you have to compete. If you have to compete, you have to give up a lot
Right.
to be successful. I mean, whether it's physical, mental, or financial, there is a selfishness that has to be achieved. And when I say that, if you look at anybody, whether it's Warren Buffett, or you look at an athlete like LeBron James, or you look at a genius,
Mhm.
these people are winning because of the fact that they give up so much time to be there. And guess what? What may lose is family, but
Right.
that's not a bad thing. If you understand how to balance that. See,
Mhm.
that the word balance has to come into that play. And so when I talk to people about, if you want to get into my business, know that there's nothing consistent about my business. The
Mm.
beauty of my business is the inconsistency of it. So that means that you will have more sad days than happy days. I remember I was talking to my wife, and 'cause, she was driving me to the airport. And I tell this to my staff, and she said, "Wow," she said, "when are you tired?" I said, "Yeah." She said, when aren't you not tired?" I said, "I'm tired all the time. I'm tired right now. Actually, I don't even want to get on this plane." But that is not for her to know, because that's not her problem.
That's right.
And so sharing my uncertainty, sharing my fears, and trying to gain sympathy is not the goal.
Right.
The goal is for me to achieve past all that
Yeah.
discomfort,
Yeah.
all that fear, and win. And so I'm telling you, if you want to be successful in what I do or anything you want to do in life, stop whining,
Mm.
stop complaining. Stop acting like your story is going to be worse than the next story. I buried my father. I buried my sister, two of my sisters. I buried my mother. I've done the eulogy at all of their funeral ceremonies,
Mhm.
and that was intentional because of the fact that I didn't want a stranger talking about my family.
Right.
And I say these things because of the fact that, did anybody know? It's probably some of my workers don't even know that my sister died,
Mm.
or my mom died, or I had cancer, or I broke my arm, or these are things that, in the purpose of trying to be successful,
Mhm.
become very, very irrelevant. It is only important to you, and sharing that to gain sympathy means nothing
Yeah.
if you're trying to compete. And so I tell everybody out there, if you listen to me, is that I've been diagnosed with cancer, so it means I'm a cancer survivor. That means cancer can come back.
Mhm.
I've had a collapsed lung, stayed in the hospital 30 days. I've been told I was going to die twice in my life in a hospital.
Mm.
Okay. And so I woke up when I was driving on stand-up comedy, and I decided to cut across the state of Mississippi, and in the dead of winter on a dark road, and the
Mm.
car went into spin. When it stopped, half the car was off the cliff.
Mm.
The only reason I was able to get off the cliff, I had taken some tires from the hotel, and I was able to put it on the back tire to back off that cliff.
Right.
So I got stories, but those stories are only for entertainment.
Yeah.
They're not stories that make you feel sorry for me or make you feel like my life is, oh, woe is me.
Yeah.
Those stories are for entertainment. If you want to be successful in this business, realize that people want to do what you want to do so bad.
Yeah.
People compete what you want to do. They want to push you out the way for you to get there. And I'm happy. I'm happy I'm blocking people. I'm trying to get around Rushion. I always tell people this, man. My job in life, if we're driving a car, I want to keep my car in front of your bumper.
Mm.
As long as I keep my car in front of your bumper, you're going to see me.
Right.
That means you have to deal with Rushion McDonald.
Mm.
If you deal with Rushion McDonald and I'm in front of you, well, you got a problem. Because guess what? My goal is not to let you pass me.
Come on.
That's what I tell everybody. And I live that life every day. I enjoy living that life every day. I allow my staff to see me as they watch me mature. And
Yeah.
I wake up every day, man, trying to be a better person.
Yeah.
I really do, because I cannot sit up here and believe that I cannot be better on Thursday than I was on Wednesday.
Right.
I can't be a better listener. I can't be a better leader. I can't be a better person who can give them an opportunity to see that they can be successful too, that they can understand the wisdom that I'm giving them has to be consistent,
Mm-hmm.
has to have values tied to it that mean something to them.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only one that always benefits from my success. It has to be a team effort. And so all these things I'm dropping on your show today are things that I had to learn.
Hmm.
I've lived and I've made mistakes and I will continue to make mistakes.
Yeah.
The problem is that I don't care if I make a mistake. That's
Yeah.
part of life. A lot of people are afraid to make mistakes. It don't bother me. Because that's part of the people would not invest in stock if they felt that they were not gonna if they felt that they were gonna lose money.
Right.
Invest because you do your homework, you plan, you set aside amount of time and energy to recover from the mistake. If it is a mistake,
Yeah.
that's what life is. Invest in yourself, realize you need to create a recovery window
Hmm.
to overcome the mistake if it does happen. That way you won't be stunned and overwhelmed when the situation is put in front of you. In other words, the blessings that you get come with hard work.
Mm. Listen, Rushion, thank you so much for the gems. I remember the first time you interviewed me, I felt so special. And then, you brought me in to come in two other times after that, man. And I just feel so connected to you, especially because of your cause for HBCUs. But I got to tell you this, I don't know if I told you this before.
Mhm.
If it wasn't for the men of Omega Psi Phi going on a tour of HBCUs in 1996, I would not have gotten to Virginia Union. And so I know you represent that organization at the end of the train. I represent the ones at the beginning of the train, but either way, we all going in the same direction, my brother.
Absolutely.
My last question for you, actually two more questions for you, then we wrap up. It's a curveball. Say, for example, you're ready to write your next best-selling book,
Mhm.
and you could go anywhere in the world to write it, and self-publishing 30 days was going to pay for it for you to do that. Where would you go?
If I wanted to write a book and go
Yeah, if you
anywhere,
if you were going if you wanted to write a book and you had the opportunity to go anywhere in the world to write it. Say, for example, you could travel anywhere in the world and we was paying for it. Where would you go?
Paris.
Okay.
If I had to live my life again, I didn't understand the reason you would want to learn French when I was in high school.
Mm.
And when I went to Paris, I felt so comfortable. I felt like a city I could own. I felt a world of you know, I didn't feel any racial issues. And I would live a different life in Paris, and I
Mm.
would be happy about it. And so I would go there and write that book because I
Okay.
would, and in the process of writing it, I would live there. I probably wouldn't come back
Oh,
because I'm going there to learn a new part of my life, and I
yeah.
want to live that next journey in Rushian's life, which
Yeah.
means I'll be changing people's lives over there. Because what I've learned about myself is that I change people because I impact people. I impact people because I want them to be better, and all people want to do in life is be better, and they just want an outlet or a collaborator to help them get there, and
I
that's what I.
love it. I love it. This has been truly transformational as always, man. You've impacted my life, and prayerfully, when people listen to this episode, they'll be impacted as well. Rushion, please tell folks how they can connect with you if they would like to collaborate and learn more about your HBCU initiative and more about money making conversations. How can folks connect with you to collaborate?
Well, definitely HBC Award Show is our social media platforms on Instagram. HBCU Award Show is our Instagram, Facebook, and as well as Twitter. But at Rushion McDonald on my social media platforms, almost 1 million followers on my Facebook, as well as Instagram, as well as Twitter. My whole thing is that you can find me, Google me. And in the process of Google me, learn that there's a journey tied to those pages, and those pages have a certain truth tied to it. And I want to hear from people. I have no problem giving people my phone number. I have the same phone number I've been having since 1994. It's a very easy number, 213-500-0555. And if people call that number and they have nothing to say, that's going to be a short conversation. If you
Yeah.
have something that you want to talk about, then it will be a conversation that will change your life.
I love it. Well, I'm gonna be calling you, man, because I need to get out to Houston. But listen, man, Rushion, you have been a tremendous blessing. For those of you who've been listening, you already know what I'm about to say. But for those of you who are brand new to watching YB's Collaboration Corner, understand this. Everything you do in life happens for a reason. So be encouraged, be blessed, but most of all, continue to share the faith. And the way that you do that is by walking in your gift, because your gift will make room for you. And remember, this is the year for your new book. We'll talk soon. Peace.